Spending more on leads, spending more on ads, and increasing and pushing yourself to the limit is the key for you to make 40K a month as an agent and also push your agency to $1 million a month. My name is Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped over 550 agents issue pay $40,000 per month. And on this channel, all I try to do is focus on the concepts, principles, and behaviors of those individuals, what they do, how they work their leads, and more importantly, how they build their agencies. Please, as always, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and we're going to hop right into the video. Let's get right to it. Okay, cool. So this is the video is breaking down to why pushing lead spend will always create 40K really plus months. So I should put that on there. And I want to talk about this concept. I also want to give you guys a quick backstory, right? So the backstory is this. I have a new client, and this new client, I'll probably have him pop up here on on our website where we do our interviews with our top clients. But I won't drop his name yet. But a new client, he's running veteran leads. He also does IULs. And I get a text yesterday. Obviously, it's January 2nd, 2026. So Happy New Year to everybody. But I get a text yesterday that says, look, I'm trying to do $150,000 a month. Now, granted, this person's already doing 60. So the reason why I say this is he already understands the concept of investing. But this came up to me as a topic I want to discuss. As you all know, I try to grab real life principles from clients that we're working with and what they're doing. So he's doing, like 50 to 60K a month. He's a newer client with us. He was already doing that before we met, but he was like, dude, I think you can take me to 100 plus. I want to build an agency. I want to do the recruiting piece, everything all in one and kind of put it in house. And I heard you're the guy to go to. Reason I'm bringing that story up is new client comes in and he's already doing 40 to, he's only 3 months in. So he did 50 his first month. Right. And then he did, I think, 62 last month. So December. I may be a little off. So if you see this, brother, I'm sorry. But it's like, it might be a little higher, a little bit lower. I don't want to butcher it. But nonetheless, he comes and says, I want to do $100,000. Right. So he says, now I want to do $100,000, which is very possible, by the way. He's doing veterans and IUL. So vet leads, you can close at a really high clip. Veterans, for people that don't know, is your running life insurance ads for veterans. Right, there's these sub niches that are being created, which is cool. I mean, it's all still just life insurance, but then you target specific niches based off of like their behavioral patterns, as I break down in previous videos. But more importantly, their income, how they think, what they're willing to invest. So taking the traditional, finally expense mortgage protection and just kind of stepped it up a notch. So essentially, the reason why I'm bringing him up is because he literally said verbatim. He sent me a message that said, brother, I am willing to spend $30,000 to make $150K, right? Now, he's not going to have to spend $30K in ads or in leads to make $150. But I'm just saying, he said, I'm willing to spend $30,000 to make $150. Now, why is that important? Now, the way I look at it is you have two options when it comes to scaling. You can try to do this. So you have two options when it comes to scaling, right? Option one is going to be you try to be extremely frugal / cost effective heavy. Now, I have spent my career on both sides of these fences, okay? Option one, that's option one. Option two, you spend aggressively and figure out systems as you go. And when I say try to be cost effective, frugal, let me not even say frugal. I'm gonna say extremely cost effective, heavy, and system heavy before scaling. And then typically you don't. I'm gonna be honest, like typically these people do not spend above what they think is necessary. Then this person is typically these people lack in systems, but can eventually build if the right type of person. So what does this mean? Okay. So there's two options, right? And the way I like to look at it is this. If you want to say that you are somebody who wants to be extremely frugal, which is not, I keep saying frugal, I'm sorry, but somebody who is going to say, I want to be cost effective. I want to build out all the systems. Everything needs to be perfect, and then I'll scale. But you can still be a good salesperson, right? This is when it comes to scaling. So if you're thinking about scaling, you should already be making money, right? 20, 30K. But you're like, I want to do 40, 50, 60. You want to do what this gentleman said, I want to do 150, right? This video is for you. Option one is to kind of like, okay, I'm going to do like a $20 a day bump. And then maybe I want to spend like $50 and like, I'll just kind of play it real small. Option two is like, I'm just going to spend aggressively and figure out this thing as I go. So what happens is when you spend more, there's two things that really happen. Okay. So there's two different type of people. So when spending more, two things happen. I already wrote one of them. Number one, you're going to be uncomfortable. Okay. And you're either going to fold, I don't even know what to use, or succeed. Right? And let me walk through both of these. So there's a few keys to being uncomfortable. Number one, right, is that have to focus on what is at hand. All right. Now, when people get uncomfortable, they try to focus on what they can't control. Because uncomfortability, typically, the way I see it is I'm looking at an outcome that I'm going after. Now I'm in a situation where I feel very uncomfortable. The only thing that's going to help me getting out of that uncomfortability is for me to focus on what I have to do at hand. Because if you just focus on one task at a time, it's not really overwhelming. It's generally not, because it's like, okay, if you break it down to the smallest thing I need to do, it's like, I need to dial. I need to get up and be at the desk by 8. Because a lot of people get uncomfortable like, dude, if I spend all this money on ads, I'm gonna get all these leads and I gotta figure out how to work them. Or I don't know what my determined outcome is, right? So it's like, all right, because I don't know what my determined outcome or if it's gonna work, I feel very uncomfortable. But if you focus on the first thing at hand, it's like, all right, dude, spend the money. Pull my card out. Spend the money. Spend $1,000. Perfect. It was my first time spending $1,000. I'm used to spending $500 on leads. Now let me spend $1,000. Very uncomfortable. Okay, now it's like prepare. Okay, so what are the things I have to prepare at? Okay, now I have to actually look at how am I going to work these leads. So I have a strategy. So then it's like, okay, what's the strategy? It's like, I'm going to call it this time. And you start breaking it down, then the leads start coming in. Things don't just pile on top of each other. Typically, you get uncomfortable when you don't have the structure for the things that are incoming. It happens to me. I'm saying that because I've scaled, and even right now, I'm like, all right, cool. And the way to mitigate that uncomfortable situation and to be comfortable being uncomfortable is to just focus on what's at hand. As for me as an athlete, when I went to college, not even before that, I'm always uncomfortable, but I do it intentionally because I know when I'm uncomfortable, there's growth on the other side. And typically, or there's a better version of myself on the other side. And typically, when I get uncomfortable, I seek more uncomfort because that shows me that I'm headed in the right direction. If I'm always comfortable, then I know on the other side of that is going to be something downhill. When I say downhill, I don't mean negative. I just mean that it might not be the desired outcome that I may be looking for, right? But when I'm uncomfortable, I know that there's something on the other side. Now, the way to get through uncomfortability is to focus on what's at hand. I'll give you a fair example. I hate running longer distance. To me, not longer distance. I hate like I could do like sprints and get tired, but I don't really enjoy running like miles or a mile in general. I just don't like it. I don't like running. I feel I don't love it. So I'm done playing football, but one of the things that I do is like I train every day. Now, when I train, I focus on obviously lifting is like not a problem to me. It's like I can lift a lot of weight and like my muscles feel strained, but I do not like having to run them out. But I do it anyways. I make sure that I run my mouth. Now I do it twice a week, and when I do it, I hate it. Today I was really tired because we came from our church home the other day, and when I got in, I was like, oh man, I don't really want to do this, but I know I have to. So I got on a treadmill, started running, and at the half mile mark, I'm gassed, and I'm not sprinting, but I'm moving. Like I'm trying to push myself to the point where I'm like, every time I get on there here, this should suck because if I do hard things over and over and over and over and over again, I get used to being uncomfortable. But the only thing I had to do to accomplish that was I focused on. I was like, dude, I was like, hey, next 10 seconds, next 10 seconds, next 10 seconds. That's all because I was focusing on task at hand. I couldn't look at the whole entire. I got half a mile left. I got to run. It's like if I did that, I'm going to be extremely overwhelmed, extremely exhausted, and that to me is where a lot of the issues arise, is because we try to focus on things that are way too far out and we can't focus on what's at hand. Right. So that's number one. But specifically, the reason I'm bringing that back up when it comes to leads is because if I know I have to spend the money, so I pull my card out, prepare the strategy. The leads come in. You get one lead at a time. You work the lead methodically. You should have a strategy for it. Okay, this is how I'm going to call the lead. This is exactly what I'm going to say, right? So that's one of the more important things that you establish. Okay, I need to watch these scripts. I have to understand that because I'm getting uncomfortable, I'm like, and this is the second thing is like failure is going to happen, right? Or if you could call it disappointment. I'm not the greatest with definitions, but the way I look at it is just keep it simple. You're going to not do as well as you expect to do. You're not. Like, you are not just going to go from spending a little to spending a lot, and overnight you're just going to absolutely crush it. And I have to remind myself that. I see it all the time because I look at my KPI tracker. When I first increase my budget, it's not always like black and white. Sometimes it is, but it's not always black and white. It's not always, oh, I went from spending $500 a day to $1,000 a day. Now all of a sudden we're going to start closing 20 more clients. Like, it doesn't work like that. That's why when it comes to spending money on ads, when it comes to buying leads, you have to be prepared. You got to, hey, I'm going to sit down and give myself a month or 2 months to just figure this out. Now, the craziest thing is, right, that your mindset about that uncomfortability has to be, this is my mantra, it has to work or it has to work. Which I don't know who that's from, but I hear it from Nehemiah Days, an entrepreneur down in Atlanta, and I just live by it. It has to work or it has to work. I don't give myself other options. When I do things, there are no other options. This is going to work. It's just a matter of when it works. So when you're uncomfortable, it's like, when does the discomfort end? Right? It's not like you're going to be uncomfortable forever. You're not like in pain forever. Like, one of the hardest things that you have, like I tore my ACL, or when I tore my pec, and like when these things happened, like, it was very, like, it hurt. I was like, dude, this sucks. But it's like, it doesn't last forever. Nothing actually lasts forever. But if we focus on the thing at hand, we understand that this is a part of the process, because failure, disappointment, expectations that are lost, whatever it is. And then you have the mindset of like, okay, I'm going to get on the other side of this. On the other side of this uncomfortability is comfortability. And then what? I have to be uncomfortable again. It's a repeating process. And that you don't look at it as like, man, I hate being uncomfortable. The problem is most people avoid uncomfort. See, the thing is, when nobody wants to, when you start making money, you don't want to spend more money. And it sounds cliche, just like, you got all the money. It's like, I've noticed that. When I was doing 40K, it was like, I didn't really want to spend. Now that I get it now. So I'm playing a different game. You just start playing a different game. You seek uncomfortability, right? You literally seek uncomfortability. Now, this is important for leads, because if you start spending more, I'm not here to talk about sales and stuff. That's not what this specific video is about. I have other videos where I talk about that, and there's other people that really go more in depth in terms of sales. I talk about mindset, and I talk about how to market your way to success. That's my thought process. Because at the end of the day, if you here's how I always look at things. When you throw yourself into situations, you start figuring it out. Most of the time we spend in paralysis analysis, we just look at the situation, we're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. And then you don't. It's like the people I talk to all the time, they get really upset. They're like, dude, these leads didn't work. And I'm like, okay, bro, what leads did you buy? Like, I bought age leads. I'm like, okay, did you buy the next step? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, try those. These didn't work. Here's the thing. Dogs, people that really get stuff done, there's levels to it. So you got people that can do old leads and crush it. You might not be that bull. Maybe you are with other companies, but not with ours. Then the question is, okay, do you do the next tier? So we have like a mid tier, more like just Facebook, regular lead form type leads, nothing too crazy. It's like, okay, that's your second tier. Are you really good at doing that? And it's like, nah, I kind of struggle. Okay, cool. Then it's like, are you in the high, because you'd probably be premium 10. Maybe you don't call them as much. Maybe you don't work them as thoroughly. Maybe you can't overcome objections, because the less expensive the lead, the more skill you really need to have. That's why I try to reverse engineer it. Other people just say, go for the premium leads. It's like, okay, I go for the premium leads and then I fail. And it's like, yeah, because you don't really have the skills to optimize that lead properly. Now, on the other end, if you have great skill, it doesn't mean you stay on the lesser leads. It just means that you're now advancing to the next one, and then you advance to the next one. Typically what happens is people who come in, they can't work aged leads, right? It's like, okay, you have a skill deficiency, especially if you're actually calling leads. It's like, dude, you're just not good yet. Or you're not using the right scripts, or you're not addressing it right. Next step is like, okay, you're working these leads, but you already have objections. I hear people, the leads are too old. It's like, bro, it's life insurance. It's like, what do you can sell it to anybody. Yeah, if the people are 90, I get it. If they're 80 and 85, it's like, it's not the case. So it's like, okay, you have our middle tier. And it's like, okay, if you can't do that, then you have to pay more to get better leads and that are more fit for your criteria. Because the way I look at it is, a lead is still a lead. A $2 lead is really the same as a $70 lead, the only difference is it's a little bit older and you have to know how to work it. If you don't know how to work a fresh lead, it doesn't matter because there's systems for every lead type. The question is, can you go through the uncomfortability of figuring out what that system is? It's very difficult to close age leads consistently. You can do it with volume, but it's like to consistently close them, it's very difficult. I have another girl, her name's Leah. She is on our website now. She's an absolute dog. You should go watch her video. It's an amazing story, and she's absolutely smashing it with mortgage protection. The reason I'm bringing that up is she was working 75-cent leads, then just went to premium. There was really no middle ground for her, which is okay, but she even talks about the uncomfortability. There's all my clients that I work with, they'll talk about how uncomfortable it was to start scaling, but I push people. I'm like, bro, you got to spend more. You got to spend more. People think I say that to say it. I'm like, dude, I'm saying that because on the other side of this is everything that you wanted. If their goal is to hit 40, 50, 60, 70, 80K, it's just on the other side of you want it. Until you become an absolute savage and you can take a small budget and make a huge amount, it's like, dude, you got to spend more or get better leads, right? Like, because alternatively, you have two ways when it comes to scaling. You can be cost effective and system heavy. That does not change. Or you can spend aggressively and figure out systems as you go. Part of being uncomfortable is understanding that you have to have the mindset to say, this is going to work or this is going to work. I'm going to fail. I have to focus on what's at hand. Do I need to improve my scripts? Do I need to improve how I call, when I call, what I say? There is no possibility that you can say that you're just going to get into a lead and absolutely succeed. If you have not put aside a specific budget to fail a little bit, you are going to fold. It doesn't matter. So it's like, if you don't do those things, they're still going to happen. Like, if you don't address them, these still things will still happen. Because where you're trying to go, you cannot just say, I'm going to show up and what worked over here is going to work over here. That's not how it works. It's not linear. There's really not many things in life that are literally linear. Like, okay, I do this, I do this, I do this, and it's going to work out perfect like this. It's a freaking windy road. It goes up and down. It's got depth and width. So it's like, it's complex, and not complex in terms of like, you have to overthink it, but complex in terms of there's a many different ways that things can happen. So then you look at the second thing, right, which is folding or succeeding. Now, for you all that don't know, folding is just like a term we use to say like bend or break, or not even bend or break, because I don't like that. It's just fold or succeed. And folding means like you just flop. All else doesn't work. And typically why that happens is because your mind is not, you don't have the right mind and expectations for how things are going to go. I'm telling you right now, when you start to scale, it is not just going to work out unless you've scaled things before, right? And when I say it's not just going to work out, your first month's not going to be good as your third month when you start scaling. Why? Because you do not know all the things that come with it. No matter what somebody tells you, I can prepare you as much as you can. You have to go through it. Because at the end of the day, if you're in life insurance, you are the one selling. If you have an agency, because we haven't even talked about that. If you have an agency and you're trying to scale, you should spend more. You should be hiring more people. And when I say spend more, I do not mean be like an idiot with how you spend. When I say spend aggressively, this word aggressively is not to say that you should just spend and waste money. I'm saying if you make $50,000 and you're spending $1,500 on leads, that's great. But if you're trying to get to, 70K, and you try to squeeze all the juice out of 15K, that's kind of dumb. Like, why don't you just spend a little bit more? You'll make more, and you'll get more leads and then you'll close more. It's not rocket science, but we overcomplicate it. And I've spent a long time doing that. That's why I'm telling myself that too. So folding and seeding is just that simple. It's like, okay, I have the right mindset. I know this is probably going to be something I go through. And then the question is, it's just a timeline. That's all it is. If you give yourself a timeline that says, I'm just going to figure this out, and you don't say I'm going to figure this out in the next 30 days, because you may figure it out in the next 30 days. But if you don't figure it out in the 30 days, typically most people get extremely discouraged. Now, when you're spending aggressively, people will be like, well, you should set the goal because then you're not doing it. It's like that only applies when you're not doing the actions. If you're putting up the money, you're doing the action. You don't need to say, oh, it's going to happen in 30 days. You just need to say it's going to happen, right? It's like, because think about it. I always thought about this. I think about life insurance as having your insurance license as a weapon. Worst case scenario, if you spend all of your money and don't make it back. Let's just say absolutely all else fails. You can literally go to a gas station. You can go anywhere and start closing people. Because as long as they have a social security number, they're alive and they can pass a test, whether it's the simplified issue or you have them going out to their house, it doesn't matter. Whether they can actually pass the physical. You can have their social security number and you have an advance. There's only for people that have advances. You have a weapon, which means you can spend aggressively. Now, I didn't realize that because I didn't understand a dang thing about marketing when I was selling as an agent, but running a business and also realizing as an agent, even if you started spending aggressively and you failed, let's just say let's just say this person said I wanted to make 150K and then he ended up spending 150K to make 150K, which would never happen. But let's just say that did. It's like, okay, you're not making anything. And then you go sell a few policies for people that you make enough to pay your rent, and then you keep going. Most people are like, oh, well, I didn't make as much. It's like, bro, you're still good. Like, that's how I look at it. Cause I'm like, all right, even for me in my business, I'm like, if I increase my spending, my goal is to get to $1 million a month. And essentially we're at 250, 200, 250. Then because of that, I'm essentially saying I gotta, 5X, 4 to 5X. So if I'm 4 to 5Xing, there are tons of things that need to change. Right. And because of that, if I go from spending, $1,000 a day to $3,000 a day, for example, then it's like, if I start spending $3,000 a day, that's not, let's say it's 100 grand on ads and I only make 100 grand. It's like, okay, I mean, if I still have my other clients, I make enough to pay my staff and I might be kind of below the 8 ball and I might just have to live off whatever little savings I got. But I dang sure I'm going to learn a lot by spending 100K and making 100K. Like a lot of things not to do, things not to focus on, how things shouldn't work. And I just learn. And it's better to learn because then you gain skills and then skills can make you more money in the future. And if you pay to do that quicker, you are literally just paying for failure. And that's how I look at scaling. You're just paying. You have to understand you're going to have some sort of uncomfortability and things aren't going to work out exactly. And that's okay. And it's like, once you understand that, then you're like, all right, cool. I might not make as much money as I want to now, but think about this, if it works out in month 2 or month 3 or month 4, when it works out, it works out. That's why the thought is it has to work or it has to work. And here's the thing that I've realized. I always tell myself, if somebody else did it, I can do it. That's number 1. Number 2 is if somebody did it and sustained it, because see, this difference I'm starting to learn. You can do anything once. Somebody can do something one time. But if you can do it over and over and over again, that's where greatness lies. So it's like, if somebody is like, because the way I look at it, when you're an entrepreneur, whether you're selling life insurance as an agent, whether you're an agency owner, or whether you run a business like myself, nothing is guaranteed. You may get residuals, you may have clients coming back, but you have to go up and eat, or you have to create a system that eats. You have to train other people to do what you do and do it at a high level so you can take a step back, or you have to, if you're the person doing it, you have to do it so well that you can predict when you do this happens. So if I put $5,000 into ads, I know I'm going to make 50K because I know that's a 10X return. But you got to know that confidently, because then you have to live your life according to that, because you're not working a job. Somebody has to take that risk. The biggest risk takers get the biggest reward. My mentor says that, and I love it. He's like, the biggest risk takers get the biggest reward. You should not feel bad about getting the biggest reward or doing what you need to do, because you're the one who's doing the biggest risk. You're putting up the bread. You're putting your face out there. You're willing to take the risk. So because of that, though, the reward is great, but also that when you put in it has to work or it has to work, and the mindset shifts, you start realizing that things like don't just like, it's about how many times you can do it over and over and over again, create a system that has it over and over and over again. Because it's like, it's not guaranteed. Even a job's not really guaranteed, but you kind of see what I'm saying? Like you're like, oh man, if I go spend 10 grand, I'm not guaranteed to make it back. But that's a good thing, because the only way that I can keep making is I have to keep being uncomfortable. So it's this never ending cycle, and you have to get used to it. That's why people say, get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's not that you actually get comfortable. It's that you seek out opportunities to be uncomfortable, because you know that on the other side of that is a better version of yourself. And this is all more of a mindset thing. We didn't talk about numbers because that doesn't matter. If you go from spending 500 a week to 1,000 a week, you're going to be uncomfortable. And then you're going to spend 1,000 a week and you're going to make 40K, and then you should probably spend 50. You should push it to the point where you can't make any more for your time, or it's time for you to start building up your agency. If you're a solo agent, you don't want to build an agency, you should spend as much as you can until there's no ROI, or no ROI to the margins that you need them to be. And then you can always take it back down. It's like, yeah, I went from making a 5X to a 4X to a 3.5X to a 2X. It's like, okay, how high can you get it to where it's like the returns don't really make sense? That should be the goal. If that's the goal, then it's perfect. Because then what you can do is maintain at that goal, and you can figure out how to optimize at that goal. People try to optimize first, scale. Like when I say optimize it, once again, I do not mean that you should just be an idiot with your money and that you shouldn't have systems in place. And when I say systems, like you shouldn't have a process in place. But I'm saying people try to get every single thing perfect before they scale. And it's like, bro, Commit first, figure out the rest later. Commit first, figure out the rest later. Commit first, figure out the rest later. Commit first, right? Commit to doing it, do the actions, take the steps, figure out the logistical parts later. Because you're gonna not like, first of all, it's gonna change. What you think, hey man, I'm gonna get these leads, I got this AI bot, it's gonna do all these fabulous things. I'm gonna sit back, pre-booked appointments, everything's gonna be gravy. It's not going to happen like that. And the problem is you think it will, and it won't. And because of that, you're gonna sell yourself short. So if you already prepare knowing that, like, hey, look, at the end of the day, this probably isn't gonna go out as I planned, and that's okay. And my timeline is not a timeline for when to make money. It's a timeline to figure out exactly how this works. And then you can scale it. When it starts working, you're good. If you just say, I'm going to make $1 million a month, like, it's like, yeah, because I used to say I'm going to make $1 million by March. I'm going to make it. I'm like, no. I'm just going to make $1 million a month. Now, by the end of this year, that's my ultimate goal, but I'm not going to say it has to be by this time. Am I going to try to do it as fast as possible? Absolutely. Am I going to try to fail quick? Absolutely. Am I going to sit back and wait? Absolutely not. Right? Do I think that it's just going to happen overnight? Absolutely not. Do I know that I have tons of things I have to learn? Yes. Right? Do I understand that part of that process is me becoming a better person? Yes. Do I understand that that's really the goal? Yes. I'm the type of person who can make $1 million a month. Not that I'm special, just that I've learned the skills that are required to do that for my industry. That doesn't make me any better. That just means that I was willing to spend to figure it out. Because you're not doing $1 million a month unless you're, a social media influencer or whatever, or you have like extremely large following, without you learning how to spend money and how to build systems. But I don't have like a well-oiled system even now, and that's okay because it's going to continue to learn and grow. And what I think is going to be a well-oiled system is not going to be what the well-oiled system actually is when it launches, because there's going to be tons of things that happen. So if you already know that, you figure out things as you go, and that is the definition of commit first, figure out the rest later. Right? So as always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're an individual agent who's looking to get high quality leads, or any leads between $1 to $55. We have everything you need. We got age leads. You're just going to get beat up. Set your expectations. They're super cheap because, to me, the way I look at age leads is, especially with my company, as you grow, I have so many different type of agents. So to charge people kind of a premium, that makes sense if I'm just working with like a company that does that. But when you start running the cold traffic and stuff, the lower cost in leads just makes sense. Right. And I want everybody to get opportunities. I'm not making a lot of money off that. I'll be transparent. We did for a while, but we're not really making a whole lot. And when I say making a lot, I mean like because we're running ads to get people and stuff like that. So it's like, it's cool. It's like a little bit of money. There's that middle tier package, which essentially is going to be like regular Facebook, Google, YouTube form leads. These are good more for like higher reps. It's like your introduction to fresh leads. But if you've ran fresh leads at all, then you should go for our premium leads. Text verified, OTP, that's kind of like our bread and butter thought process. And we're always optimizing and adding new features to our leads. So I think that establishing and knowing what lead type you fit in is important before you go to our site. Then from there, you have your agent lead lab. So if you are an actual agency owner who's doing over $250,000 to $300,000 a month, and you're looking to scale, get to $500,000, $1 million a month, one of the more important things that you need to really focus on is you need to establish that in-house infrastructure. We'll run your ads. We'll set up an entire Go High level for you. Our cost ranges between $5,000 to $10,000 a month. So if that's something that fits inside your ballpark or you think that'd be a good fit, please just go to our website, book a lead strategy call. You're going to fill out a ton of information. You already know the price, so like don't waste our time. If you don't have the money, it's okay. Just go buy leads. Don't get on a call and try to figure out what it is. I'm telling you it is. We're going to run your ads. We're going to build you a Go High level that you own. It's going to be pretty unique. We have unique strategies that we leverage. We have AI. We have an AI department. Like, we have a ton of things, and you're basically paying to hire us as staff. So you're not paying for ads. You're not paying for a Go High level. You're paying for my staff. So anybody that's on my staff will work on your behalf. You'll hire us essentially. It's a 3-month contract. We'll get things set up for you. Just letting you know. So if that's something you might be interested in, you can, like I said, go to the link, book a call, talk to somebody on our team, and go through our options and see kind of what it looks like. That may change in the future. So if you're watching this years down the line, it might be a little bit different. But as always, I just try to let you guys know what's going on. So please, as always, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.